So what do you think about a rates cap that the government's talking about? Should rates increases be capped to inflation? What do you think?
I don't agree with that, and the reason is every city has its different circumstances. What I absolutely support is benchmarking, and we should be judged against all the other councils in the country, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed, to be honest, is the what DIA have come out with and told us that they're going to benchmark us on, because I don't think it goes far enough. There's 5 or 6 measures that you can look at compared to other councils, but rates capping has been shown that it does not work, because all it does is basically drive councils into the ground. So look, we can deliver CPI rates increases every year, but I can tell you right now we won't be delivering you anything. So that shared pathway along the mount, the skate park, those things won't happen. The netball courts, those are. Look, we were there last night at Bay Oval, and those are absolutely heaving, and they need more space. And I can tell you, if we had a rates cap, those things just wouldn't be delivered. We're going to get further behind than we are now in that infrastructure. We won't be fixing the road. So that's the issue with a rates cap. Is it's just not. It's actually counterproductive. And what we will argue for is, for example, this regional deal. We want to be partners with the government, and we want to share more in them. So just an example, we deliver over 25% of the nation's, this is local councils, of the nation's infrastructure. We get under 7% of the total tax take. So we're delivering 25% of the infrastructure on 7% of the tax take.
So this is the councils over the whole country.
That's councils over the whole country.
So there's lots of talk, should we get GST back and various things? And the government's as tight as a... well, you're not going to get money out of the government very easily. Now, when you're talking about benchmarking, it's quite interesting because it is quite hard to find proper measures that actually compare and give you a good sense of what's going on. I mean, the council, you can do your own benchmarking. I mean, there are firms that will do that for you. So you can use that without the government. You could go that route.
Yeah, the challenge there, and yes, absolutely we can. The challenge there is getting the information. And if you look through 78 different councils' books, everyone accounts for things differently. And so it's really hard to figure out what numbers they're talking. Even Tauranga. When we say what our rates are, we're Tauranga City Council. But on top of that, you've got water rates. On top of that, you've got Bay of Plenty Regional Council. So it's really hard. You can say this is Tauranga City Council's rates compared to Auckland's rates, compared to Rotorua rates, where they don't have separate water charges. They're not. It's not comparing apples with apples.
So are they going to bring in uniform accounting standards as well? Yeah,
well, they're just basically setting the standard. This is how you've got to account for it, and then they can do all the numbers.
So that's a good idea, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, and that's something that I think will have a huge benefit. You'll be able to judge your council and your councillors on what they're delivering for their communities. So just back to the government, and just to put it in perspective, right? Because I think this is really important. So the hospitals, the schools in our district, they don't pay rates. When they build those, they don't pay development contributions. They don't give us any share of the GST. We've been the fastest growing city in this country for the last 20 years. We get no benefit from that. The government, they get all the benefit from that. They get the better GST take. They get, every time we build a house, they get 15% of the value of that house returned to them in GST. They get all the extra income tax from us providing the port. The port, for all the wharf space where they load ships, that is called wharfage. No rates on that. So that's just to put in perspective what as a council we're trying to deal with. That's why the residential ratepayer gets a huge amount.
Hammered, yeah.
And
but of course the wharf, the council doesn't provide the wharf facility, do they? But it's still a bit unfair. The government doesn't actually have to follow the building code either, do they?
No, this is just, you know, when the government start talking about rates capping, it makes me pretty mad because I kind of look at them, you know, they're just you know, total rates across New Zealand, about $8 billion, all councils, $8 billion. The total tax take from the government from 23 to 24, 104 billion to 115 billion. And then they're saying, so, you know, do the percentage on that, it's about 11%. And then they're hammering us because they're saying, oh, you're putting your rates up 12%. I'm not defending that. We want to get that down, but I'm just saying, you know, put it in context that actually the government, we need to start pushing back on them and saying, that's why I'm really excited that we will hopefully be able to work with them on a regional deal. And I guess since I've been as the mayor, been advocating very strongly with them and trying to give the examples of actually, you know, you've got to actually help us out here. And, you know, I'll admit, we haven't always done a good job. It's really hard when we, you know, when you see stories about local councils spending out of control to
like
say,
on the palace, like on the palace. Has anyone seen the palace? It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And yeah, no, look,
it's expensive.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Look, our council would have taken, you know, a different view on a number of things. You know, that being one of it. But you know, when decisions are made, look, we've got a lease now for 15 years. It's a beautiful building. You know, having everyone together, there is some real benefits to that. You know, we can argue over the cost of it, but you know, it will drive, you know, efficiency, and we certainly can now, you know, hold the whip and say, well, we've got a beautiful building, we've got to get the productivity out of it.
The mayor's office is pretty impressive too, I believe.
It is. So
it's
yeah,
big enough that you could have an extra 3 or 4 staff. Couldn't you? You could just poke them in the corner.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to get rid of staff at the moment, but
which is fair enough.
Well, we are going to have an open day, so you know, we'll just invite you all to come over, you know, and see.
Do we get a coffee?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give you a coffee. You're paying for it, so yeah.